Okay, so welcome to Social Work 375. And before we get really started into the content of the course, I want to stop and talk a little bit about the practical aspects of obtaining quality research, because one of the things that you're primarily asked to do in many of your classes, and will certainly be asked to do in this class, is to go out and locate research. And one of the distinctions that you're going to need to make is between quality research and research that's not of high quality. So you can look for three components for quality research. This is in the general sense. The first question you'll want to ask is it peer reviewed? Meaning, has the process been looked at by other professionals and verified that the findings are correct and that the conclusions are valid, are useful? So not just one person putting out on the internet what they think or what they found, but somebody looking meticulously at the methods and the findings to make sure that it's a study of quality. The second aspect that you're looking for in quality research is a concerted attempt to be unbiased, so that when when the authors of the research that you're looking at go into the research, go into the study, they demonstrate attempts to not voice their opinions or ideas or beliefs about what the conclusions will be, and yet let the data answer the questions. And there's several ways that bias can creep in into research, and we'll talk about that. Mostly when you're looking online, you're looking for obvious bias. So, um, questioning the source of the information and what are the motivations of the sources. And then the last element has to do with, again, verifiable sources. So if you find information that's not citation of a study directly, where did that information come from? And are those sources peer reviewed and unbiased? So your book provides a great resource, quick reference for your first level of critical thinking when you find a website that has information, and that is to look at the end of the URL, the last three letters or the domain name. And you'll note they've identified several different domain names that will tell you different things. For example, anything that's .edu comes from an educational institution. Anything that's .gov comes from the federal government. And so that tells you something about the verifiability of sources and potentially about the bias of sources. Education institutes and federal governments rely more heavily on peer-reviewed research, and so you may find less bias in documents you locate on those sources as opposed to other potential sites you may find. Not that those sites won't be valid. So you want to look at things like who's the sponsor of a website, what are the dates, right? When is the research or the information related to? What's the scope? Who is this information supposed to address and who does it cover? How are they linked to other websites, and are these legitimate or reasonable, unbiased sites themselves? Uh, is the website reporting information authored by the sponsor or someone else? So who actually wrote the information? And again, all getting back to that idea of how do we verify any bias that may be driving the research or the information. So this little guide that's in page 11 of your book is a helpful way to uh, critically think through the websites you identify and access and determine whether or not they meet the benchmark of quality research. So in this class and in many classes, you're going to be asked to obtain peer-reviewed research. And again, this means, generally speaking, this means professional journals in a particular um, field. So for example, the Journal of Social Work, the Journal of Social Work Research, many other journals of child and family youth care. All of those are professional journals that publish articles that go through a rigorous peer review process. But sometimes getting your hands on those journal articles can be difficult. So I'm going to give you sort of a quick way to locate journal articles that might be in your field that are peer reviewed, and that also use both Google Scholar and the UAF library. So we're now going to turn to Google Scholar. If you want to follow this process, you go ahead and click on the link provided on this slide. So when you click on the link and you get to Google Scholar, this is the page that you should see. And Google Scholar is different from the regular main Google page because it searches specifically for peer-reviewed academic articles. So that's a useful way to screen out other websites that might have resources that aren't peer-reviewed or academic. So when you get to Google Scholar, you can go ahead and enter the search topic that you are researching. So for example, we might be interested in teen drinking. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that. And there it is. And then hit search and we'll see what Google Scholar can find for us. So you can see that Google Scholar pulled up 98,500 results on teen drinking in just peer-reviewed articles. So that's pretty compelling bits of information. You can see that these are um, in different journals. You can see the Journal of Public Economics, the Journal of Health Economics, Journal of Studies on, and we can't quite see what the rest of that title is. But it gives you a number of different options. So one of the other things when you're looking for research is you're looking for research that's as recent as possible. And Google Scholar allows you to address that. So if you go over here under any time and click on custom range, you can enter dates, or we could do something as simple as look at articles since 2009, and that's about a 4 or 5 years range, and that's good in terms of thinking about updated information. So let's click on since 2009 and see what we get. So you see that limits it down to 16,900 results, and that the years of the articles are much more recent. And so that's useful. So you can scroll through the many choices, the many ideas, and look for ones. Teen drinking is a broad category. So through these hits, you can begin to narrow your process, finding articles that are relevant more specifically to the topic that you had in mind. So another thing to note when you use Google Scholar is that this is pulling up the reference, not the full text article, generally speaking. Full text articles for many peer-reviewed journals are not available on the internet and will have to go through the UAF library to access those, and I'll take you through that step momentarily. So you're getting the reference in most cases, not the full text. Now here's an example of where that's different. Some schools, here you see a .edu, as well as government sites provide you the full text document. This is not frequent, but it does happen. So you'll see in this one the impact of parental modeling and permissibility on alcohol use and experience negative drinking consequences in college. That one is available from the National Institute of Health through the US government. So let's click on that and see if we can access the full text article without going to the UAF library. So that pulls up the Addictive Behaviors Journal, and it looks like they're offering it full text. They may not be. So as you see, you hit a dead end because they're asking in this instance for your password. So in this instance, even though it looks like it might be full text, we do have to go back to the UAF library to access that, and I'll show you how to do that now. Okay, so looking again at our results from Google Scholar, let's imagine that we're interested in the role that parents have in teen drinking, whether or not parents have a role in preventing drinking, and what the research says about that. So you can see our third study here. Can parents prevent heavy episodic drinking by allowing teens to drink at home? We're interested in the findings of this study. So what we're going to want to find out in order to look it up online is what journal it's in, what year it was published, what volume, and what edition. So I went ahead and clicked on the link, and even though I can't get it in full text, I can see here that this is in the journal titled Addictive Behaviors. It's in volume 35, issue 12. So that tells us really everything that we need to know to find this paper. And now we're going to write that down and move to the UAF library. So go ahead and head to the UAF main webpage at www.uaf.edu. So that should take you to the main webpage at UAF, and you can look for the library in many different ways, but I just go up into the search and hit library, and that should pull up many search options. And the library that you're interested in is the Rasmussen Library. So go ahead and click that link. So that brings you to the great search page for the Rasmussen Library at UAF. And you're going to go ahead and conduct a search. And since we know we're looking for a peer-reviewed article and we know what journal it's in, we're going to go ahead and search for journal titles. So click on that tab, and it's as straightforward as searching for journal titles. And the journal that we're interested in is Addictive Behaviors. So we go ahead and search for that. And you'll see that that pulls up several of their different search engines that allow us access. So we see the first one is available through Science Direct Freedom. That means the university has a subscription to that, and they have it back all the way to 1995. So that will work well for us. Go ahead and click on that link. Now here's where they're going to ask you to log in. Just like the online system wanted you to pay for a journal article, this system needs to verify that you're a student, and that's the way that the university is able to provide you with a copy of this article. So you log in using the same login you use for your Blackboard or for your email through UAF. I'm going to go ahead and do that. It tells me there's encrypted information. And here we go. So now we are logged in through that same site that we saw earlier. So we can see that the current issues are up and available, and we're looking for past issues. And you'll also notice they tell you that in green are where there are full text articles, and if it's white, they offer abstracts of the articles only, and it looks like all of the offered articles are full text. So we remember at this point the volume and the year for our article, and that will help us locate it. So I believe our article was in volume 35, and you can see volume 35 is related to 2010. So we'll click on that, and that should drop down several options for locating it through the issue. And I believe our issue was 12, so that is the first issue that's pulled up, and it lists all of the articles here. So we scan down, and we look for the article that we initially researched. And this is also where having the page numbers may also be a piece of information you wish to collect. Now what you'll notice as you look through this journal is that oftentimes journals center around a particular subject area, or a topic within a subject area. So you'll note that within this journal edition there are several articles that are related to teen drinking, and that's another good way to find peer-reviewed information about your topic. And I scrolled by our article earlier, but here it is. It's number 11. Can parents prevent heavy episodic drinking by allowing teens to drink at home? And you'll see that here you can locate the PDF. You click on the PDF, and that brings up a full copy of the article that you can read, review. You can also save using the save functions on your computer. So that's a great way to access peer-reviewed articles. It's a way of combining the power of the Google Scholar with the access that you have through the UAF library. So as we mentioned, if you're lucky, sometimes you can get that full text without having to go into the library. On a few rare occasions that's available, but most of the time you're going to have to get access through the UAF library. And that's the process we just covered. Also, occasionally you'll find an article that you really want, and you are not able to locate it because that journal is not something that's subscribed to by the University of Alaska Fairbanks. And so you have a third and final option. It's called Interlibrary Loan. And this is a great option if you've never used it. It's free and it's quite fast. It comes to your email, and you're able to request full text copies of journal articles that aren't available, and the librarian will help you locate that. They'll access a copy and they'll send it in your email, and I'll show you how to get to that process as well. So if you're not able to access a journal article that you're looking for through the library, Interlibrary loan is a great option, and here is the main library webpage. You see we're back at library.uaf.edu. This is the place where we begin to search for our journals. And instead what you're going to want to do is scroll down and click on Interlibrary Loan. Interlibrary Loan is going to ask you for a user and password. Now in this instance, this is not the same as your UAF user and password. You're going to have to register with the ILLiad program, which provides the interlibrary loan process for our university. So go ahead, if you're a first-time user, click there and you'll have to register. You can use your own username and password and you'll log on through there. So I went ahead and logged in with my password, and this is the interlibrary loan form for the University of Alaska Fairbanks. So what you're going to want to do is make you'll see I have no pending requests. I'm not requesting any articles currently. So what you'd want to do is make a new request. You can request an article, which is probably what you're most likely to do. You can also request a book, a conference paper, a report, or a thesis. So we're going to go ahead and click on article. And you simply include the fields that you have that you found from your Google Scholar search. So the title of your journal, the volume, the issue. You'll see the starred places are places that you must provide information. You also get to enter a not wanted after date. Sometimes, most of the time they're very fast, but occasionally it can take a long time to find an article and they want to know what your time frame is. Also whether or not you'll accept it in language other than English. And then you simply submit your request, and within a short period of time that article will appear from the library in your email. It's fabulous service. So I encourage you to explore both Google Scholar, the UAF library, and your access to the interlibrary loan during the coming semester.